Iraq. Otherwise known as the cradle of civilization, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers flow through a land rich in history and music. From the ancient echoes of Maqam in desert landscapes to the vibrant beats of modern cities, Iraqi sound has seen golden ages, wars, and reinvention, and even now it's still changing in ways you wouldn't expect. But look, let's be real, when you think of Iraq, you probably think of war and conflict, right? And sometimes that's all we ever hear about. But even in the midst of all that, music has been a constant, a lifeline. So let's take a break from the headlines and hear the fascinating story of how it survived. Let's rewind way back, before modern music. Mesopotamians were already creating soundscapes. Check this out, the world's first musical notation, a 3,500-year-old Sumerian hymn carved into a clay tablet. Music back then wasn't just for fun though, it was a core part of worship, healing, and community gatherings. Take the hymn to Ninkasi for example, a Sumerian hymn dedicated to the goddess of beer. This is just one sneak peek at how music was woven into everyday life in what is now known as Iraq, even thousands of years ago. These early seeds of music would continue to evolve, eventually blossoming into one of the most celebrated period in the region's musical history. Baghdad during the Abbasid Caliphate era stood as the world's art and music capital, a golden age for Maqam, a profound improvisational musical system that remained central to Iraqi sound. This era saw a vibrant cultural blend, enriched by the contributions of both Muslim and Jewish communities, who shaped the development of music in Iraq. But in order to truly understand the magic of Maqam, you've got to hear the instruments that bring it to life. Let's talk about some of the most important instruments to Iraq. First up, the oud. The oud is a short-necked, pear-shaped, fretless lute, and the granddaddy of Arab string instruments, with a warm, textured sound. This instrument can take different forms regionally, but for many outside of Iraq, this is the sound they most strongly associate with the country's music. The Santur, a trapezoid-shaped stringed instrument played with small hammers. It has a very addictive quality. Think glittery, ethereal musical fireworks. And then there's the Joza. The Joza is a type of spike fiddle, a bowed string instrument with a soulful, uniquely melancholic sound. These instruments and many more are the backbone of Iraqi music. But these are just a few examples. Each region of Iraq has its own unique blend of instruments and musical styles. In Kurdistan, they're telling stories with the tambur and daf, often led by powerful female singers. Turkmen areas blend Central Asian and Middle Eastern sounds. Assyrian music keeps ancient melodies alive, and Yazidis use the daf for spiritual sounds. From centuries of cultural exchange, southern Iraq has influences from the Gulf. Each region's like its own musical universe. The more you dig, the more regional music styles you'll find in each of these places. But how did these regional sounds reach everyone else in Iraq? In the early 20th century, gramophone records were the revolution, and at the heart of that revolution in Iraq was the Chakmakchi Company, established in 1918. At first, they weren't just selling gramophones, they were building a musical empire, as they gradually became a pivotal force in bringing recorded music to Iraqi homes. In the mid-20th century, Chakmakchi went from selling gramophones to recording and producing Iraqi music. They became a key label, a vital platform, and pioneers in preserving Iraqi musical heritage. As the century progressed, radio began to take over.
Dear listeners, now with this RA song.
Stations like Baghdad Radio were broadcasting Maqam and folk music nationwide, launching the careers of legends like Muhammad al-Qubanchi, Salima Murad, and Nazim al-Ghazali. During times of censorship, radio became a battleground. The state used radio for both music censorship and constant propaganda broadcasts. Its listeners found ways to find foreign and pirate broadcasts for uncensored music and Western influences. In many ways, this opened the door for the rapid modernization of Iraqi music. The mid-20th century transformed Iraqi music. The 1958 revolution sparked a nationalist revival of folk music, while Western influences introduced new styles. The 1960s saw a fusion of these influences, blending Western pop and rock with traditional rhythms. This fusion continued through the 70s, with Ilham al-Madfa'i pioneering Iraqi pop, and into the 80s with disco and synth pop. This era saw diverse genres flourish as technology expanded music's reach beyond records and radio. However, this era of relative artistic freedom was about to change, drastically. The 90s was brutal. The Gulf War and those tough sanctions just wrecked Iraqi life, and the music scene took a beating. Then, if that wasn't enough damage already, in 2003, the invasion made things even worse. Baghdad was hit hard. Music studios were destroyed, the the infrastructure crumbled, and tragically the National Archive of Music and Sound, a priceless record of Iraq's musical heritage, was completely lost. Despite this chaos, many musicians bravely tried to keep creating. However, the ongoing political instability forced bands like Akrasa Kauda, a heavy metal group, to flee, fearing persecution. Even today, power outages and the war's lingering effects continue to impact the music scene. Despite everything, a new generation kept music alive. US Fox, for example, found his passion hearing 50 Cent from a US Humvee during wartime, sparking fusions now found everywhere. Artists like Ilham Al-Madfahi, Rahim Al-Haj, and Aida Nadim paved the way for this new era. But how did people hear these sounds? Like everywhere else, pop culture and TV played a role. Music Al Remus TV promotes Arabic language music, while Veen TV is a leading Kurdish channel. These channels with online music outlets are significant platforms for the post-2003 Iraqi music revival. There are so many genres thriving in Iraq today. We've got polished pop, raw hip-hop, and even a powerful underground rock and metal scene. Hip-hop and rap artists like Odd Khalid and Soma use trap and drill beats to speak their minds, spreading their music through online platforms and even popping up on some of those music TV channels. And let me tell you, the dancers in Iraq, they take the music to a whole nother level. Music and dance go hand in hand in Iraq, and it's so much fun to watch. The Chobi dance, a lively line dance, is a staple at weddings and celebrations. The Kahashaba dance, originating from Basra, showcases intricate footwork and high energy, often performed to the rhythms of regional drums. And then there's the Iraqi Hacha knife dance. This one seems a bit intense, but it's actually a pretty beautiful display of strength and tradition, with powerful drum beats that add a touch of drama. And honestly, those are just scratching the surface. Iraq is bursting with dances, each telling its own story. From the well-known to the incredibly niche, there are countless ways to move to the music here. It's impossible to cover them all, but these dances are more than just entertainment. They are a vital way for Iraqis' diverse cultures to share their heritage. That's where the magic is. The music festivals, gatherings, and events in Iraq play their part in this too. While you might be thinking of huge festivals the size of small cities like we often see in the rest of the world, music events in Iraq are more subtle and underground. For now anyway. Events like the Babylon International Festival blend the past and present, while underground electronic events with DJs and musicians pulse in the cities. Forget big festivals, low-key intimate events are where it's at in Iraq. Smaller festivals, especially in Kurdistan, celebrate with local music, food and culture. The Iraqi National Symphony Orchestra keeps classical music alive, and cultural centers in Baghdad, Erbil and Basra host diverse music performances. So what's next for Iraqi music? Well, as an outsider, it probably wouldn't be fair for me to say with certainty, but what I do know is that the future's looking bright, with music more accessible than ever. Platforms like Spotify, YouTube, and Angami are connecting everyone in Iraq to worldly music, and a huge shout out to Shlonak Records, Iraqafella Radio, and Abdulisms, and many more from the Iraqi diaspora around the world. They're making a massive difference in sharing their musical heritage with the world. You can hear this fusion of cultures in bands like Nabeel. They're creating a really interesting sound by bringing together their Iraqi roots and Western shoegaze music with Arabic lyrics. All the links will be below. I highly recommend you check them out and show some love. So if you're from Iraq or just a music fan, what do you think the future of Iraqi music sounds like? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to learn more, I've put a ton of links in the description below. We've only just scratched the surface in this video, so if you want a part 2, hit like and subscribe. Wherever you're watching from, I wish you all the best. Thanks for watching.